I see it. Hello, welcome to Coming Out with Cannabis. Today we're talking to Theresa Svoboda. I hope I didn't
Hi,
butcher
guys.
that. She is an advocate, a patient, and a caregiver. She is in the industry, and I can't wait to listen to what she has to say today. But first, play!
Welcome, Theresa. Thank you so
Hi.
much for joining us
Great.
today. I live for 3 times a week now. We're shooting these guys for those intros. They really make my day.
It's fun. We have a good time here, you know.
We sure do. So today, you guys, I'm sure you've noticed a trend. We've had a lot of women this month purposely because it is National World's Women's Month. And so we have tried very hard every week now to bring in female guests purposely that are making a contribution in the cannabis industry, just like Theresa is. And so we're so pleased to have you today, Theresa.
Thank you.
And, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And why don't you let us know, you're a nurse and you turned rogue.
Rogue advocate?
I'm a rogue social worker. Actually, I was working with the 65 and up population, enrolled in waiver services. Oh yeah, little kids and the elderly have my heart, really. But really, I became an advocate because I have an illness. I have Lyme disease, and I was running out of options. That's what brings a lot of people into cannabis. And that kind of paralleled my work with the elderly. And I saw a pattern with them. And it's the same pattern that we see when we get sick. It's you go to the doctor, you get diagnosed with your illness, and they start treating you with medications. And sometimes those medications need other medications. And I was falling into the medication trap myself, but at the same time visiting 65 and ups that were falling, developing pneumonia because they took a Klonopin to get to sleep, getting up in the morning a little bit dizzy and unsteady from their medications and not sleep or insomnia, and having accidents that shorten their lives. So it's a real issue. And they're not educated. So I found that there's some space. There's space for our seniors to learn and be reinformed. And I think they're finally accepting that. So really my work has concentrated on my efforts to get the senior population signed up, which is another reason I became a caregiver, to get my mother signed up. I saw the same pattern in her that I saw with all of our seniors. And that's, we give them medications, and sometimes medications to thwart those side effects, and it causes issues. So that's where it all started. And it's just kind of exploded because the medical patient community in Pennsylvania has discovered they need to find a space to come together and learn, since there are limited education opportunities that the dispensaries can offer. Really, patients are having to seek out a lot of information, and the pharmacists and the dispensaries are great sources, but they're not enough. You get a small consultation. Every time you go in, not all of our patients can go into a dispensary and sit down and talk to someone. And we can't do this via Skype. So that's another reason we need a caregiver program, because people can't get out their house to get medication. So if you can't, there are multiple problems that I'm learning about.
And I can actually comment on that, believe it or not. Of course, the crowd's probably like, oh, there goes Christina. Comment on that too.
Well, that's a surprise.
In all seriousness, last August, my aunt engaged me because my uncle, which is my dad's oldest brother, as my dad passed away before his brothers, he was the youngest, my dad. My oldest uncle, my Uncle Artie, actually was terminal, and he was living in a elderly home, right? Which didn't even make sense, right? They put him there because they didn't know where to put him.
Right.
He couldn't stay in the hospital, so they kicked him over there. And then they wouldn't classify him as terminal, right? Because of the insurance.
Right.
So they wanted to take him in an ambulance one day to get a cardiovascular study. Now he's dying. Okay, he's dying. He weighs like 60 pounds. He's 6'3".
Right.
He's got all these things wrong with him, and you want to put him in an ambulance for $12,000 each way to take him to get a cardiovascular study because you told him that he needs this because it might help him walk again.
Yes.
Are you kidding me? So I got in. My aunt was like, "That's enough. Christina has to get involved." I
remember.
I ended up, getting up there to the Mount Penn area. We were able to get him classified. We got him a medical card. However, we needed a caregiver because my uncle could not. I mean, he couldn't. He had to take an ambulance home. So how is he going to get to a dispensary? And I had a heck of a time trying to find a Berks County caregiver.
Right.
And so this was something that raised my eyebrow because obviously we've all been working in this industry, but not from a caregiver standpoint. And affinity patient advocacy doesn't get involved in the caregiver aspect. We try to advocate for the patient, but we never really, our eyes were not open at that point to understand that this was an issue until it happened to my uncle, which my aunt successfully became a caregiver. My uncle ended up dying 2 days after she became a caregiver. But I mean, he was very sick and he's in a much better place, but now my aunt luckily is a caregiver. So now she can help others, which has now inspired her, which Wayne, we should probably have her on the show actually to talk about her journey of traditional meds. She's a paralegal. So,
perfect.
But anyway, I completely understand where you're coming from, Theresa, because I saw it firsthand with my own family, and it was very, it was upsetting.
Well, Theresa, and it's funny you mentioned that. That's one of the things I was considering as well, getting my caregiver cert just to help my parents. I mention to Christine all the time, and in fact, she knows on Thursday I leave early from work. I mean, I call 5 o'clock early, but as an entrepreneur, you understand.
Oh yeah.
But I have dinner with my parents every Thursday, and I sit there and they break out their evening meds, and they each have about a pile of 9 of them laying there.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, that's my heart of hearts is with the children, with the seniors, much like yourself, because those are the two populations that can't help themselves, that we have to help educate them, my parents. Exactly.
So to piggyback on that, I mean, you said the elderly and the children, and they're definitely a big patient base, the elderly, especially in Pennsylvania. So I think everyone should have their caregiver card. Everybody should. And that way, maybe when this program gets a little bit more bounce, we will have the ability to trust people to deliver meds to people that really need it. But just to piggyback on that, like you said, the minors too, what we're finding is in Pennsylvania, our program is excellent. But the resonation is that parents are looking for medical ratio formulas and ones that you can give to minors. So sublingual are really popular. Tinctures are very popular. Vaping isn't so much popular for the minors, but you even have some dispensaries that aren't willing to really get a product that they don't know isn't going to be reliably in stock. So we've got patients that are looking for that 19:1 ratio. When they get to the dispensary, they really need those options. With more growers coming on, we'll be able to provide more product, and we really do need tinctures and medical formulas, other products that patients don't need to inhale at all. That's what we're in need of.
Right.
And that's a segue into another conversation, probably for another show. But with push for adult use, I mean, just yesterday, here in Pennsylvania, at the state capitol, me personally, and as you mentioned, these are patients that need those tinctures and those 20-to-1s. If we do go adult use here in PA, it's my personal opinion that adult use should stop at flower and perhaps hashish or something of that nature. And so the patient's meds are protected, so that those patients, when they go to the dispensary, they don't have to be concerned that, all the adult rec users bought all the RSO, or, I can't get my tincture for my child. That's my concern. And that's probably another show I shouldn't have went there.
Well, I think dispensaries are helping their medical patients first. I think
absolutely.
for sure that's being done. I think tinctures are being held and RSOs, hopefully, for the people that need them. And RSOs gaining a lot of steam too here.
Yeah, I mean, when I was at that last Lieutenant Governor Roadshow, when he was in Montgomery County, that was the point I brought up, was that as a medical patient, I need to ensure, and so do all the other patients we advocate for and we support, that they're able to get their medicine, because we have to take it on the daily. It's not because we're taking it because of extracurricular activities. It's so that we can actually feel better, so that we can function in society.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I think like our experience last Friday, we were at Ilera's dispensary, which in my opinion, I don't want to get political or jump on a bandwagon, but they are a flagship. I mean, Ilera dispensary is a flagship. I know that there's been some things said. I mean, who hasn't anybody said anything about, right? I mean,
definitely. We're a loud population of patients, that's for sure.
Yeah. And everybody's always saying something. So I know there's people that are going to differ, with my opinion, and that's okay. But I have to tell you, our experience, at least at Ilera, because Wayne and I were both there meeting, and then as patients also being provided, with products that we need. We learned something new from Amanda, who's one of their bud tenders. And it was just for our nighttime meds, because we used to take an RSO. And one of the things that's annoying for us people who've never taken RSO before is the stickiness, and trying to get it out of the application and heating it up and
trying to get the application open.
Yeah. Getting stuck
fat fingers.
Yeah, Wade's was always getting stuck on.
So you have to preheat the RSO.
Yes.
I'm learning that. Yeah.
Yes.
There's a learning curve.
There is.
Absolutely is.
So we switched to sauce now. So now we take sauce, which is similar, and that I find is easier to control on my orange, or my apricot.
Was a lot nicer.
Yeah, and it's just like boop, and I'm done. I don't have to heat it up. I don't have to fight with the applicator, regardless of what applicator. It still gets stuck at the end, and then you're wasting stuff. You're trying to get it out because it's expensive, right? It's not like $20. It's $60, $65, depending upon which one you get.
Yeah, and the messy RSO and those applicators, it gets a little frustrating, especially for me. I need that stuff to go to sleep. I don't sleep. I share that every week with folks. I got home, used that cheese sauce, got 5 straight hours. I couldn't believe it.
The distillate sauces, straight distillate is great. Yeah,
it was amazing.
Really effective, and people don't realize, but THC can really help you with sleep. When I take my CBD during the day, that helps my body function and my brain stay nice and clear. But to get a good night's sleep pain-free, and have it sustained and wake up and be able to get out of bed, it's pretty amazing.
I got so much done. Yeah, I got so much done on St. Pat. I'm Irish, last name Kelly. I can't deny it. I'm Irish 24/7,
really?
365, right? Yeah. So I mean, I'm not just wearing my St. Patty's Day shirt on Saturday and getting drunk or something. So I woke up on St. Patty's Day and I had a couple drinks, but I got so much done on St. Patty's Day Sunday because I got a good night's sleep, and I never do. It was so good. Oh my goodness.
I mean, just the mind clarity, right? Because when you don't sleep, you start to feel a little loopy. Your brain,
everything.
Your
body just doesn't function. Your metabolism doesn't function. Everything kind of shuts down.
Oh my goodness.
You visited Ilera. What did you learn, or did you just try a new product, the distillate?
Yeah, so luckily we knew a lot about their products because we take their CBD. I take Shine during the day.
Oh yeah,
it's fantastic.
And that's the 10-1?
That's the 10-1. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
It's fantastic. And then we switched out the RSO for the cheese sauce because we were talking to Amanda about the RSO issues and trying to get it out of the applicator and just, you know, just some of the things in general. I woke up, I actually felt better, rested than I normally do with the RSO, which I was surprised about because the RSO had been my champion, right? I was complaining less about it than Wayne was, by the way, just so you know.
Well, you know, THC is the best at its lowest dose. So maybe your dosing adjusted too. That's what I'm thinking. It's not just a product change, but your dosing changed.
Yep. I bumped down a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, I believe that. Okay. That's wonderful. Yay.
Yeah.
So it was a great visit.
It was fantastic. And the staff alone, just the staff. I mean, they knew who we were and
Alera's fabulous. You were at Alera, and they're fabulous. I think, and I might not be correct, but I'm thinking they're one of our only bilingual dispensaries. Oh. They have a bilingual staff, a Spanish-speaking staff. So I think that's nice. Awesome. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Absolutely. Sure. I mean, you know, the thing is that to have a dispensary in Pennsylvania, although it costs a lot of money, right, to get up and licensing fees and everybody to get ready to get to that point and get the approval and all that stuff. I don't want to belabor all the government type things and monetary things, but the high touch approach is what's important to me as a patient. And that's what I pay attention to. And I've been to now five dispensaries, various ones, even in Pittsburgh. I even went up when we were in town in October and visited Cresco, which I love. I love Cresco.
DUI plus.
Yeah. I love Cresco. I mean, I would embrace them if they came down this way too, just because I'm selfish. But they're fantastic too.
Here's your reminder. Wrap it up.
Okay. At least it wasn't Bruce in the box today. Usually Bruce Brady tells us to.
I know. Okay, Alexa, thank you. There's Alexa.
Where is Bruce? Does he have a stomach virus today?
No, he's up there. Oops, I'm sorry, Bruce. I'll tell her down. Okay, thank you. Bruce is harassing me. I got Alexa over here harassing me. I turn her down. Oh, okay. Stop, Alexa. We're going to wrap it up now. Jeez. Yes, Bruce. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Okay. All right, we're good. We got another 5 minutes here. I think I got her settled. Bruce is okay as long as we don't drop any F-bombs or, anything like that.
Not doing it today, Bruce. I'm behaved.
She's behaving, Bruce. Okay, we're good. All right, so what do we want to talk about? First of all, I had a great time at Alera, and they sent us home with swag. You know how much we like swag over here.
Yes.
Coming out with cannabis. We like to share it, but we like to give it or get it.
Well, and we're having one of the Alera staff members, Amanda, who we mentioned earlier. She's going to be on, as well as one of their pharmacists who came from traditional. She worked at TJU, and this is her first industry.
Great.
Yep, we love those, people that are like us that convert in.
The crossovers, it's great.
It's just fantastic.
Yeah.
So you guys will be able to see, and we're happy to have other dispensary personnel. One of our board members for Affinity Patient Advocacy is starting or has started already at Terra Vita, Tito. So of course, since he's a board member, Tito, Theresa, and we'll have him on as well. So you guys will be able to hear from some of the dispensaries around the area.
Oh yes, some of those bud tenders are the biggest advocates I know. They write and blog about it. They're terpene nerds, just like we are. They're really into it, and their patients' first contact. Sometimes, when the pharmacist is in consult or a patient just needs a little tweaking, the bud tenders are the ones.
Yes, they
are.
Love
them.
I do want to absolutely. In fact, that's a great segue into what I want to. I had a great experience at Alera. I don't want to. Here there's some of that. We'll give them some airtime. There's Alera pen. But when we were talking to Amanda, or you were taking care of your stuff, the gal on the right-hand side, the other bud tender, was attending to this elderly man. And it was so adorable how she just catered to him, answering every question that this guy had. And you could tell he was a little new at this and just really didn't know what he wanted or what he needed. But she catered to his every need and answered all of his questions. It was adorable, for me to see that. And like we shared, my heart is with the elderly and the children. And for her to really just cater to that man and give him all the time that he needed, answer all of his questions. He walked out of that dispensary feeling comfortable, educated, and he felt like he had the medicine.
Confident. He was confident.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly
When he came in, he wasn't confident.
Oh,
And
exactly.
We were in the waiting room, out in the waiting room initially, after our meeting, because we had a meeting there too. And so we were talking to the patients about the products and, and helping
Christina
them.
gave a consult.
Yeah. Dr. DR was in the house. But yeah, so one of the pharmacists there as well, we love her too. Tina, she was like, wow,
Nice.
Christina, you just gave her a consult. And I was like, well, she asked us and we just kind of told her what worked for us as patients. That's all.
It's so empowering. The experience is so empowering, especially a first-time experience like you just mentioned, or maybe that was somebody that was just not having as much success or looking for answers. It's so empowering, but the knowledge that patients are giving each other and getting from bud tenders, PCs, they call themselves, I think, is just innumerable. We need it.
Great.
And bud tenders are caregivers. They're the first line of caregiving.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Yeah.
Well, we have so much to talk about. We could go on, and we didn't even talk about how Theresa's part of the gang now, and we're working on some business development stuff together as far as research and data collection and that kind of stuff. So
Cannabis.
Yep, that's right. We didn't even mention Cannabis.
Don't forget about Cannabis. So Theresa's our new director of business development for both Affinity Bio Partners.
Raise the roof!
And AIHO, which is AI Health Outcomes. That's the parent company for our Cannabis and our Dr. Bot. And so we're so excited to have her join our team, especially with the fact that Theresa strives to empower patients and really wants to do the right thing, which is what we want on our teams.
Yep. It's
Yes.
a perfect
Thank
match.
you so much.
Thank you for joining us today.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I guess we better satisfy Bruce and the A word over there sitting on the corner of my desk. I won't try to activate her again. So is there anything we should talk about or close out, Christina?
I think that's all she wrote. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.